We've been traveling full-time for the past 4 years, with 2 of those years being abroad. We have seen a lot and experienced some great moments. One question we get is, do you ever experience culture shock when you travel? We also get, do you ever experience reverse culture shock when you return?
We have just spent 2 months in the States on a long visit with our families, and we thought it would be fun to sit down before we leave and tell you some of the differences we've seen, share some of our experiences, and have a laugh or two.
We're John and Bev, and we are the Retirement Travelers.
If you're just joining us, you might not know that we have a website where you can sign up for our newsletter, retirementtravelers.com. Also, the vast majority of our viewers don't hit subscribe.
No, what's up with that?
I do not know. So come on, hit subscribe and join our growing community of travel enthusiasts.
So let's talk about the thing Americans do the very best in the whole wide world. Toilet paper. It's one of the biggest things we miss when we travel, especially when it's absent. I mean, we've been to 75 countries and counting, and we have yet to find a country that makes it softer, fluffier, or stronger. It's one of America's greatest engineering marvels.
Along those same lines, in Europe, it's common to have to pay to pee. So keeping extra change on you is important. It's like really important. Nothing is worse than when nature calls and you have no change. When I see people struggling for money outside bathrooms, I take the Superman approach, and I can say I have saved the day on more than one occasion.
Well, people are grateful when you pay for them to pee.
Yes, they really are.
We think one of the reasons Americans love to travel abroad is that we get tired of American cities all looking the same and offering the same chain restaurants. Now, when we travel abroad, we just don't see this, and we love it. I mean, most restaurants are mom and pop places, and the world has many unique cities, all with their own unique style. We've kind of lost this flavor in the US, and it's kind of a shame.
Now, we were nervous about gaining weight coming back to the United States, but we were shocked at how quickly it happened. You know, I felt like we landed, we went through customs, and the agent said, "Here, hold this 5-pound dumbbell for your entire visit to the United States."
I think they handed me a 10.
I'm glad I got the 5. It could be because we missed the little Debbie cakes and the milkshakes, not that we've been indulging or anything like that.
No. Speaking of food, the grocery stores in the United States are gigantic compared to the rest of the world. And we kind of like it.
Yes, we do.
I mean, there's 50,000 boxes of cereal. We love grocery stores, looking at products and comparing prices around the world. But there's something very special about being able to go to the grocery store and buying cough drops instead of having to head over to the pharmacy. I mean, really, that's the truth.
That's right. And grocery bags. You know, we always said when we had to start paying for grocery bags, we would bring our own, and that's been the case pretty much all around the world.
Yeah, we bring them.
Let's talk servers. You know, there's nothing better than coming home and sitting down at a Cracker Barrel and getting great service.
Yeah.
You know, we've also gotten perfect service around the world. I mean, the servers have treated us very well. However, they need to take one lesson from the Cracker Barrel server. You know, when we're served in the U.S., before we've even had a chance to butter our biscuit, they bring us the check, and it's always accompanied by something like, "Sweetie, you just take your time. Whenever you're ready, here's the check." Now, mind you, she'll return 3 or 4 more times to fill up our beverages. You know, the differences in many countries is that once we finish our meal, our server will not look at us. You know, it's like some kind of a secret game they play. Avoid the customer and never, ever make eye contact after they finish eating. Now, seriously, we have to sometimes go and tackle them to get the check, and then they look at us like we're crazy, like, you want to pay?
Here's another American favorite. We love U.S. washing machines. When traveling, we see a lot of high efficiency machines, but, and there is a big but, they are teeny tiny and they take forever to wash a load. I mean, we've seen some run for 2.5 hours. I mean, no joke. I mean, we come back to the US and we can wash the entire neighborhood in 30 minutes flat. It's a dream come true. And we also get dryers here.
No matter what country we've been to, we can always find modern dining, modern malls, modern transportation. It just goes on and on. I don't know what we were thinking when we started traveling, but the world is so much like America in this regard. We see advanced systems everywhere. America certainly does not have a monopoly on this one.
Medical care around the world is great and modern. The only part that's different is the price. We can actually afford medical care everywhere without insurance. Now, we have insurance, it's just affordable without it. And I think that we as consumers are fed the narrative that, we have the best care in the world in the States, and it is great, but we have no qualms about getting medical care abroad.
Here's another one on medical care. What's up with pharmaceutical ads on TV? They are nonstop. We've come back to the U.S. and there seems to be more diseases now than when we left. There are so many new drugs out there. We didn't even know about some of the conditions or that they even existed. We never see commercials for drugs when we travel.
Let's talk tipping. Now, we love giving a great tip for great service, but seriously, everywhere we go in the U.S., we are asked for a tip. We are oftentimes asked to tip before we are even served. Before you know it, we will be tipping robots.
Actually, I think that's a new thing. We grew up in America, and we remember the days of trying to decide if we wanted to go bowling so badly that we were willing to endure the equivalent of 6 cartons of secondhand smoke to do it. Well, America has made some incredible strides in cleaning up our act and not imposing secondhand smoke on people who don't wish to inhale it. This is not the same everywhere else you go in the world. If you travel like us, be prepared for cancer screenings. The world has not gotten the memo, and this is one of our most frustrating experiences as we travel the world.
This is another thing we love about the U.S., ice machines. These are not in abundance in other countries. Many places serve drinks with no ice, and it's kind of culture shock when you've been raised in the South where ice machines are a way of life. We kind of feel guilty asking for a glass of ice. When we ask for a glass, we hope we get 3 ice cubes and not just 1.
Now, this might come as a shocker, but the rest of the world is doing just fine without drive-thru service. We rarely see drive-thrus. They just don't seem to exist. We do see plenty of Subways and McDonald's, but they don't have drive-thrus. Maybe that's why we were asked to carry around those dumbbells.
Maybe that's why we are carrying around those dumbbells. Let's chalk this one up for America too. Wow, you do not realize the importance of power abundance until you're in a place that is lacking. We've been in places where the power is unstable, and we've also been in places where they turn it off to conserve. We've also seen many places where the power coming into a unit is so weak that turning on 2 things like a microwave and the air conditioner just blows a breaker. Nothing helps you realize that you aren't in Kansas anymore than lack of power.
That's right, Dorothy. Chalk this one up for the U.S. too. Our sidewalks are the best in the world. They're smooth and for the most part are mobility focused. This is not the case around the world. Our Americans for Disability Act is really paying off. After being on some of the worst sidewalks or no sidewalks around the world, hats off to America for making this a priority. They also build great ramps, elevators, and many other accessible features. The rest of the world, they could learn from us on this one.
This has been a bit of a personal culture shock for us. Driving. We hardly drive when we travel. We rent cars occasionally, and we actually like living in places where we can walk everywhere and take public transportation. It's been a great thing for our physical condition, but when we came back to the States, we had to face the reality that we needed a car. We've loved being able to hop on a train and get from one place to the next. America isn't set up for being on foot, and we miss that about our life abroad.
Now, we didn't buy one, we just needed one.
No.
We've seen some really great ideas at airports around the world. One thing we saw with Wizz Air in Budapest was being able to print your boarding pass and print your luggage tags. You print the tag, you scan the bag in yourself, you drop it in, and there you go, no lines. Now, in all fairness, we took a Southwest flight the other day here in the States, and they allow you to print your tag too. You just still have to stand in line.
Yeah.
So it's probably regulations, but nevertheless, we see it as a step forward.
We also like when planes are loaded from the front and the rear at the same time. It saves a lot of time.
That's a great idea.
All around the world, hotels are run pretty much the same way. The one thing we hate about hotels abroad is that they oftentimes leave off the flat sheet. It's a fitted sheet and a duvet, and that's it. it just feels so wrong, especially when you were raised in the South. I mean, we would never hear of that. We did have a lot of sticker shock when we came back also, because we tried to book some hotels here in the States, and it's almost cheaper to go abroad for a family vacation than to stay here.
We were shocked when we traveled through Asia, and on every flight we were served a hot meal. Rice and chicken and a drink. Now these were only 1-hour flights, mind you. So in 1 hour they were able to serve everyone with real silverware, followed by coffee and tea service. Wow. In the US, we get a bag of crackers.
Motorbikes are the preferred means of transportation in Asia, and we see why. Now, they are more affordable than cars. However, since the last time we visited Asia about 10 years ago, they seem to have been multiplying as fast as rabbits. They are everywhere. Literally, sidewalks have become like parking lots for these little guys, and just crossing the street is a reminder of the adage, stay calm and carry on.
No matter where we go, I'm always in need of a haircut. So I've had to get my haircut in nearly every country almost. It's kind of funny to see the pampering that goes on at these places. I oftentimes get head massages and sometimes even 2 shampoos. No matter where I go, I always enjoy the experience. Oh, did I tell you they clean your ears in Vietnam?
Before we set off on our trip, we were pretty dependent on Amazon. Now, this is not available around the world, and we had quite an adjustment, or rather withdrawal, from this service. It's definitely an addiction. Maybe that's adding to America's love of stuff, but we do miss it when we're on the road. It's a lot more work to track down an item like camera equipment when you don't have Amazon service.
When we travel around the world, we were kind of shocked. We just do not see self-storage units. Like we said, Americans love their stuff. But did you know that 90% of the world's self-storage units are found in the USA? There are a few countries in the race with us, but we just don't see them, when we travel. There's definitely an over-reliance on stuff that it kind of makes us sad when we come back to the US.
One of the biggest questions we get is, do you have problems speaking to people in other countries? The answer is generally no. I mean, we rarely have problems communicating. English is so widely spoken, and especially in the travel world, transportation, hotels, and restaurant servers. They are usually bilingual. When we come across someone who doesn't speak English, we pull out our Google Translate and we try to make it work. It's really fun to try to solve this problem. I mean, you just need to have patience and a smile. We try to learn a few things as we go also, a few phrases, so that's always our advice, is to learn some phrases when you're in the country.
That's right. So that's our list of cultural differences. I mean, do you have something to add? If you do, please leave them in the comments and let's have some fun with this.
Yes, happy trails.
Be sure to hit subscribe and follow along on our retirement journey around the world.